Hello and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. On behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you joined us for the Precious Metals and Critical Minerals Conference. Our next presentation is from DynaResource. Please note you may submit questions for the presenter in the box to the left of the slides, and you can view a company's availability for one-on-one meetings by clicking Book a Meeting in the top toolbar. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Rowan Hazelton. He's the President and Chief Executive Officer of DynaResource, which trades on the OTCQX Best Market under the symbol DYNR. Welcome back, Rowan.
Thanks, John. Thanks for having me. Good afternoon to everyone, and thanks to the OTC for hosting this great conference, and of course for hosting our stock trading. I'm going to try and make this a bit of a conversation today that's both for new potential shareholders, people who haven't heard about the story and overview, and also try giving a bit of an update for existing shareholders. So first of all, DynaResource, we are a junior gold producer. We've been producing for approximately 10 years in Mexico. This year, we are aiming for approximately 21,000 ounces of gold. And really, what are the main attributes of DynaResource is really our team, a new management team, our geology, exploration upside, and general upside, which I'll go into. First off to our first slide on a cautionary note, and I would highlight both for all readers and in particular for readers from Canada and specifically British Columbia, to please have a look at this. And we are not currently soliciting any offer for any particular prospectus or any primary share offering. So why DynaResource? Again, from a high level overview, what we have here at DynaResource is a spectacular ore body that has significant undiscovered exploration potential. That's what attracted me. I've been in this position for a year and a half, and I brought a whole new management team to this company, as well as a strong and independent board since I've been involved. We've recently put out a reserve statement, the first reserve statement ever at DynaResource of approximately 253,000 ounces of gold. That's 2P under a US SK 1300 report, similar to a 43-101, which supports a 7-year reserve life. But that's only essentially what we think as the tip of the iceberg here. In terms of, we strongly believe, this management team believes, there's at least a 1 million ounce exploration potential, if not something larger to a 2 million ounce, that this is really a mineral field, a mineral gold fields. And the main reason being that this mine, or this property, has not really been commercially mined in almost 100 years until DynaResource started mining again 10 years ago. Again, I'll go into that a little bit more. So since this management team took over beginning in the middle of last year, we've seen an increasing revenues, increasing focus on cost and cost discipline. And as is highlighted here, we are profitable on an operation basis. Certainly the strong gold price environment, which we are very bullish on, is helping. Again, I mean, we're all here because we see significant upside. This may be, on the smaller side in terms of, of both production and ounces in the ground at the moment. But we see the upside and the leverage to this story, and in particular to our market cap. If you take a look at the market cap of this company at 40 million approximately US basic, I think it's hard to compare to any other producing asset currently. Having said that, we've had some challenges since taking over and managing this company. Many for those who are existing shareholders. Again, I'll touch on what we're doing on some of those challenges. And the most recently, some of that challenge has been in operating grade, which we're working on in a number of ways to get that grade back up to our expectations, which is closer to 4 grams a ton. So going back to the background again here on this slide, you can see the San Jose de Gracia mine, 100% owned by DynaResource in Western Mexico. It's a district scale opportunity of approximately 4,000 or 5,000 hectares. And again, what mentioned the historical mining, we understand that there was approximately 1 million ounces of bonanza grade gold mined between about 1890 and 1910, and that was at 30 to 60 grams a ton approximately, or 1 to 2 ounces a ton. And then what makes this, and that's true of some other mines in the general Sierra Madre region, and the mining stopped for a period of time during the Mexican Revolution era. And then what's unique about this property compared to other properties and other mines, generally speaking, in the whole Sierra Madre area, is that it was essentially not mined commercially, again, mostly for the next 100 years. There was some local scale, small operation, as well as some small scale artisanal mining. You can read the rest. We've covered some of those already. And again, we put out a reserve report. So what do we see as the catalyst for moving this value of this company higher? Again, we put out the reserve report earlier this year. We've been working on a plan which we've now implemented to install a gravity circuit. When we first, our management team came in place, recoveries have been, over most of this last period, hovering around the mid-70s. And we identified that there's a significant amount of free gold, native gold, contained in this ore body that was not being recovered by a flotation circuit. To recap, we are or give you a quick overview of this mine. It's approximately a 750 ton per day mine that goes into our own 100% owned plant here in the town of San Jose de Gracia. And that produces a flotation concentrate and now also a gravity concentrate. So two separate concentrates, a float con and a gravity con. And so the recoveries was approximately mid-70s, I mentioned. And now that we've installed this circuit, which we commissioned in the middle of October, so it's been a month and a half, it frankly is exceeding my expectations. And our target is 80% plus net recoveries. Why the gravity circuit? We estimate perhaps 20% plus of the gold is native gold and free gold. And the rest of the gold is contained, generally speaking, within chalcopyrite or pyrite. And that recovers well from a flotation circuit, but not, but the free gold does not. Our next major catalyst is to uplist on a primary larger exchange. Something that we originally had targeted at the end of this year, and we've now moved our target to the second half of next year. And then to grow this company through, the real value in this company will be grown through the drill bit, in particular a surface drill program. We've been working on exploration with the funding that we do have and the financial position that we do have this year, through underground drilling and underground drifting, and even with that, without a surface drill program, we discovered two primary areas, the Victoria vein and an extension of what was the Palos Chinos historical mining area. Here's just a summary. You can read at your leisure. Our reserve and our resource statement. Again, on the reserve basis, 2P, 1.6 million tons at an estimated grade of 4.91 grams per ton. There's some strong metrics in the technical report. I just mentioned a couple. This, again, is a May technical report done at $2,500 gold. Showed an estimated NPV of 85 million, again, relative to our 40 million basic market cap. And then at $3,000 gold, 133 million, and that's only $3,000 gold, let alone the gold environment we're in now. To take a pause here on valuation, I'm extremely optimistic that as we continue to check off the boxes of our key milestones, key objectives, and key challenges, that we have the potential here to see, a multi-million, in terms of addition of value, possibly, in 100 million uplift kind of basis, in a possibly even a 3x basis. And this is not just my own opinion. This comes from some other bankers and so on that we've been in touch with. Of course, we are working hard to fix some of the challenges that we face. And as we do that, I'm quite confident that we'll see that value of this company rise. And those are some metrics that essentially support that. Just some financial metrics. Again, you can see bottom left, our EBITDA, essentially since Q2 2024, that was the quarter just before I joined the company. I joined in June of 2024. We've built a very strong management team, several of whom I used to work with at Goldcorp. We all have experience in Latin America. We all speak fluent Spanish. And with this extremely resourceful and dedicated management team, we've been working hard to improve value in this company and address issues, many of which, almost most of which, at least on an administrative basis, are legacy issues that we're dealing with. You can see our improvements overall in financial metrics, and those aren't all just to do with rising gold price, which certainly helps. On an operational basis, you can see some of our historical numbers quarter by quarter in terms of gold production, an increase in mill throughput over the last year and beyond. And again, we are targeting 21,000 ounces of gold production this year. I mentioned the gravity circuit, and so what is in our gravity circuit? It's 3 new Falcons, which are essentially work the same process that all gravity recoveries work, which is gravity, water, and motion. And we had originally tested the function and productivity of the Falcons by having 1 Falcon at the end of our entire mill circuit, which was starting to recover a good amount of gold that had otherwise been going to the tailings. We basically designed or started to consider and do the work on this new plan at the end of last year. It took us into early this year to finalize laboratory studies, which showed the potential actually for plus 90% recoveries, although our management team is targeting 80, and I'm expecting plus 80, perhaps 80 to 85% recoveries. Again, we've been running these Falcons since the middle of October and seeing a significant increase in our recoveries and importantly also a significant increase in grade in the small amount of gravity con that we do produce at a much higher grade, which also has a higher payability when we sell our concentrate to our 100% offtaker, which is Ocean Partners. Where are we located? We're located, as I mentioned, in the Sierra Madre Belt in western Mexico, which is a highly prolific gold belt, which roughly, in the past 10 or 15 years, has produced continuously 20 plus million ounces of gold in total, and continues to be, an extremely prolific geological region. And again, we're excited, about what the geology tells us and indicates in our current both mine and in some of the limited exploration that we've been able to do since I and the rest of the management team have joined this company. Here on the next slide is just a little bit more color on what we see as that exploration opportunity and upside. You're looking on the left-hand side of Google Map of roughly our core concession area down the bottom left. That's the town and the plant and our tailings facility. And in the core middle area of I guess I can use my thing here, in the very core here, that's our core mining area. And some of these bright green pickaxe and shovels, they represent only a portion of what is historical data from that historical mining. And what I'd highlight here on this slide is particular up to the north, an area that we call Haciendita. This whole area has some historical data. There's some very small adits, 30, 40 feet deep, that were not actually mined in a true mining basis, even from standards of 100 years ago, and where there's chip samples of 30 grams per ton, 1 ounces per ton. We see to the north a very high exploration potential, possibly even 500,000 ounces just in this area here. The image on the right really just shows you the lithology of the area. This slide is, I think, a very helpful slide to see our overall mining area. Now it's a cross section, and now north is up here on the left. And our three core mining areas are Tres Amigos, San Pablo over to the middle right, and then further on the right, Mochimero, which is a mining deposit, an ore deposit that we just opened up and started mining earlier last year. You can see Tres Amigos is our deepest mine. It's approximately 300 meters deep. These ore bodies are still open at depth But in particular, even if you just cast your eye across, we see potential to extend both of those existing operations, let alone into areas that you can see that we haven't had mining. If you look very closely, you can see some faint lines. Those are all the drill holes, our drill holes that DynaResource has mined, has drilled since taking over this property, which, by the way, was just over 25 years ago. And that really is what makes up our 2P reserve, is these 3 core mining areas, and then some of this infill drilling in these target areas. But areas like 8 and 9, as I mentioned here to the north, Ascenditas, and an area called Orange Tree, have no drill holes on it, no diamond drill holes, and all our information is taken, as I mentioned, from some of these surface information, chip samples, old adits, and so on. And we see very strong correlation, I guess, of structural interpretation of structural geology as to why we are that optimistic about the future exploration upside in geology here. And there's a couple more slides here on geology. But what I'll say is, we've brought in this management team that we brought, Luis Portugal is our general manager. I used to work together with him way back when he was chief geologist at San Dimas, Teotita, which a number of you would know, one of the strongest underground, narrow vein epithermal mining system in Mexico. We have a very similar deposit. He and his team, our team, is extremely excited about some of the parallels to San Dimas and Teotita. Certainly, we don't have quite the same expansive scope in terms of overall district, and what we don't have is the additional bonus of a high silver grade. Essentially, this mine is basically a pure gold mine with approximately 3% of revenues derived from silver. But this team and Luis and the geology team that he's brought to DynaResource have been focused on interpreting our geology, looking for vein extensions, looking for new veins, and has been very successful. As I mentioned, 2 areas, but I'd even mention here this image here on the top right. That's from an area which is down here at the south of San Pablo, where previously the company's previous management team had felt that there was no further extensions of this ore body. There were some faulting systems, and again, our team, through reinterpretation, forged through into an area, found the extension of this vein, and in particular, found an area with basically chip samples here. You can see here almost 80 grams per ton. So we believe that there's more like this. We're trying to bring, improve the financial condition of the company in order to bring that exploration program to the company, and therefore, value to our shareholders. Here's just a little bit of information about the Victoria vein. This is the extension that, or rather a brand new vein that we discovered through drifting and short-term drilling, which is just to the north of the Tres Amigos vein, which again, I think the highlight of what is this, the interpretation of this is that our view that there's further, new veins and new exploration potential, but in particular to the north, that's precisely what we found here. In addition, which is not shown on this image, in addition to extensions up here at the highest point, the highest level here in Tres Amigos, at the over 600 meter level, that we found extensions of the Tres Amigos vein. I should say this overall, the town is approximately 300 to 350 meters above sea level, so 1,000 feet. The mine entrances are approximately 500 meter level entrances, and again, this all ramped. And again, the deepest is about 300 meters, so again, about 1,000 feet from surface at deepest. This is a narrow vein epithermal system with an average width, somewhere in the 1.5 to 2 meters, although we do mine stuff as low as 0.8 and as high sometimes as 2.5 meters or more wide. Another area I mentioned is the discovery, or essentially the discovery of what is the extension of the old Palos Chinos mine. If you look here in the center, this gray area, that was the old historical workings, from 100 years ago, as mentioned. Mochimera is our latest deposit. That's here on the right-hand side. Those are our current workings and developments, and we found the extension to that. we have a strong relationship with our community, a strong social license, and in particular, we built and commissioned a medical clinic that serves both the 800 to 1,000 people that are in the town, as well as approximately 1,000 people that are in the general surrounding area. That's now staffed by the government after we built the place, committed the funds for the equipment, and now it's being staffed on an almost full-time basis by the Mexican Social Services, again, to a very strong benefit to the town. Other community engagement includes road building, education support, sports, and so on. Something I didn't mention at the beginning, what makes this company very unique is our capital structure. We have a very tight capital structure, just under 30 million basic shares outstanding, approximately 40 fully diluted. What's in the fully diluted? There's some very small amount of management equity compensation, and there's also some warrants and some preferred shares outstanding. This company is essentially being financed almost as if it's been a private company since its inception. Just to go back, this company started in approximately 1999 when the founder and the founding group got access to these concessions in San Jose de Gracia, started consolidating them. They had been disparate for many, many years, consolidated them for a number of years, then started exploring them for approximately over 10 years, and then finally put this mine into production, initially at a very small scale 10 years ago, 100 tons per day underground, slowly increasing to about 200, and then doubled to from say 350 to the 700 to 800 tons per day capacity that we currently have. It's a very tight shareholder group. There's approximately a dozen people that make up almost 70% of the shareholdings on a fully diluted basis, and two people that make up approximately 50% on a fully diluted basis. Hence why you see very little trading on our friends here at the OTC, and hence why one of our primary goals is to increase company access to capital and liquidity through an uplist to another exchange. I've mentioned some of the people involved. Again, very experienced people with Latin American experience, all fluent in Spanish. Luis Portugal, the mine general manager, Dave Keogh, our chief operating officer. We worked together previously at Goldcorp, significant operating experience. Definitely one of the best operators I've worked with in my almost 25-year mining career. Alonso Sotomayor, with significant mining experience, our CFO. We have a strong and independent board, chaired by Oscar Cabrera, most recently the chair of the board of Sierra Metals, which also had operations in Mexico. Oscar is a Mexican-Canadian veteran and now retired of the metals and mining business as an analyst for a series of major international banks, including Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, CIBC, and you can see a number of other directors: Dale Petrini, Maria Virginia Anzola, a mining lawyer; Phil Rose, who represents our largest shareholder, a businessman; Dr. Quinton Henning, an exploration geologist many of you will be familiar with, whose view on the property is that, again, shared by our view and management view, that there's significant exploration potential; and Brent Onlin, the CEO of Ocean Partners, our 100% off-taker, our creditor in our credit agreement, as well as an equity holder, a significant equity holder, because they have seen the value in this, both prior to me joining this company, as well as since I joined this company. They put in additional funds. That's essentially, I guess, the slides part. I said I would address some issues, especially for existing shareholders, and we have several key challenges. One is a concession title discrepancy issue that we found out about earlier this year. We disclosed in July, where approximately 25% of our titles show a discrepancy at the mines ministry office. We are working hard to solve that in a number of ways. One is a lawsuit that we're very confident that the government, what we do know for a fact is that the government didn't notify the company properly of any change in title, and therefore we have a ironclad claim in our lawsuit to claim the those titles. Number two, we're also working at a high level, senior levels of government in order to rectify that on a mutual basis. Another issue is this company when I joined, hadn't collected any VAT or IVA in Mexico for approximately 3 years. And since I've joined, we've worked hard at different strategies to increase our recoveries. This year, we've recovered approximately $2.5 million. That's still a relatively small drop in the bucket compared to what is now $24 million on the balance sheet. That's a significant asset owned by this company, and it's something we're working hard with the government. And we do see with the strategies and different people that we've been using to help solve this issue. And part of it stems from, again, another legacy issue that came up earlier this year, which we disclosed earlier this year, which is an ongoing tax audit by the tax authorities in Mexico, by which we are now in a negotiating process, essentially an ombudsman process with the government to resolve that legacy income tax issue, which we are very confident that will lead to an opening of receiving of our VAT, on our ongoing basis, and this historical amount that's on our books. And then our other ongoing challenge is grade, which certainly has been lower than planned and disappointing, both for management team and for shareholders in Q3, and ongoing somewhat since Q3. And again, in addition to the increase in recoveries that we've put in place with our new gravity circuit, we're working hard to increase our mining flexibility, look for those higher overall average grade areas and improve that grade. We're working on our 2026 budget at the moment. We'll put out results probably very early in the new year, but what we estimate for next year, suffice it to say, we do see a rise in recoveries. I've taken up much of the time here. Let me take a quick look at the questions. One of the first questions is about what is the timing and realistic for uplist. Again, the main criteria that we need to fix in order to uplist on a major exchange is the concession issue that I just mentioned. We see that as being up to 6 months from today in order to resolve that, let's say by the middle of next year. Therefore, we see an uplist extremely realistic at the end of in the second half of next year, probably in Q4 of next year. Next question is on drop in production from 24 to 25, and that primarily is almost exclusively a function of a continued decrease in our average head grades. What we've been doing to offset that, and again, part of that is around our continued understanding of this ore body as a new management team, in order to properly institute mine planning, grade control, which we've done a lot on. We've changed out one of our mining contractors from an inefficient mine contractor to a better mine contractor. We have 2 altogether. And most importantly, we've significantly expanded our underground development this year from what was approximately 20 meters a day in 24 to 40 meters a day in 25. And that's all with the goal of expanding our number of faces available in order to provide flexibility and look to bring higher grade to the plant. So we are disappointed in the head grades that we have, that we've been processing and received, and we are confident that both with our planning and our planning for next year, and in particular, along with our getting a proper exploration program, surface exploration program, and a more aggressive exploration program, this property can probably use a $5 to maybe almost $10 million a year exploration budget, and we would find strong results that would improve our future production. I know I'm almost out of time here, so I will stop there, and thank you very much for your attention.